The Viking village of Berk is a tough remote place, but its biggest problem isn't the harsh climate or isolation, it's the constant dragon raids. Hiccup, the awkward and clumsy son of Stoic the Vast, the village chief, doesn't fit in. While other Vikings are brawny warriors, Hiccup is scrawny and a complete disappointment to his father, who wants him to be a strong leader. Stoic sets off on a perilous voyage with the village's strongest Vikings to find and destroy the dragon's nest, hoping to end the raids once and for all. Meanwhile, Hiccup is left behind to begin dragon training with the other teenagers, which includes the confident and tough Astrid, the boisterous Snotlout, the overconfident twins Roughnut and Toughnut, and the nerdy dragon-obsessed Fishlegs. In the middle of a raid, Hiccup uses a catapult he invented to shoot down a legendary and elusive Night Fury, the most dangerous dragon of all. No one sees it happen, and when he tries to tell his father, he's dismissed. The Night Fury is a mythical beast that no one has ever seen and survived, so Stoic doesn't believe his son could have possibly hit it. But determined to prove his worth, Hiccup ventures into the woods to find the downed dragon. He finds it tangled in his bolus, helpless and terrified. He raises his knife to kill it but can't bring himself to do it. Instead, he frees the dragon, which promptly escapes, but not before roaring in his face. Hiccup returns to the woods later to find the dragon trapped in a cove. It's unable to fly because one of its tail fins was broken in the crash. Feeling responsible, Hiccup begins to secretly care for it, slowly earning its trust. He names the dragon Toothless because its teeth are retractable. Through their interactions, Hiccup realizes that everything the Vikings believe about dragons is wrong. He sees that they are intelligent, curious, and even playful creatures. He also discovers that their behaviors are dictated by specific triggers like a certain sound or a particular plant. Using these insights, he begins to excel in dragon training back in the village, much to everyone's surprise, especially Astrid's. His success in the training arena is a result of his friendship with Toothless. He learns how to subdue different dragons by understanding their weaknesses, like a Natter's blind spot or a Gronkul's limited fire blasts. Hiccup's newfound confidence and skill impress everyone, particularly Astrid, who becomes suspicious of his sudden change. She follows him into the woods and discovers his secret. At first she is horrified and runs back to tell the village, but Hiccup pleads with her to understand. He takes her on a thrilling flight on Toothless' back, an experience that changes her perspective completely. They are attacked by a giant monstrous dragon, which proves the dragons are only stealing food to feed a massive tyrannical queen. The queen, known as the Red Death, will eat them if they don't provide her with enough food. This discovery explains why the dragons have been raiding the village for so long. Hiccup returns home ready to tell his father the truth, but Stoic has just returned from his failed voyage. He is so proud of Hiccup's success in dragon training that he announces Hiccup will have the honor of killing a dragon in front of the entire village as part of a rite of passage. Hiccup is conflicted. He doesn't want to kill a dragon, especially not after everything he's learned. He decides to use the opportunity to show everyone that dragons are not what they seem, but during the ceremony, the monstrous nightmare gets agitated and attacks. Toothless, hearing Hiccup's terrified screams, flies to his rescue. In the ensuing chaos, Stoic sees Toothless, and Hiccup confesses that he shot down the Night Fury and has been friends with it. Stoic is furious and locks Hiccup in the house. Heartbroken and angry, he uses Toothless to find the dragon's nest. Hiccup now free recruits the other teens and their training dragons to help him. They realize that Toothless' tail fin, which Hiccup had created a prosthetic for, is vital to his flight. Hiccup and the other teens ride their dragons into battle, using their knowledge to outsmart the Vikings and the Red Death. Hiccup, with his new prosthetic for Toothless, engages the queen in an aerial battle. He leads the massive dragon on a chase, forcing it to chase him high into the clouds before diving back down. The Red Death opens its mouth for a final lethal blast, but Hiccup uses this opportunity to ignite a controlled explosion in its mouth. The Red Death plummets to the ground in a fiery crash, taking a large chunk of its tail with it. Toothless and Hiccup crash as well, and Hiccup blacks out. He wakes up in his bed to his father's immense relief and sees that his leg has been replaced with a prosthetic, a consequence of the crash. His father, now filled with pride, sees him as the son he always wanted. Hiccup, with the help of his friends and his father, convinces the village that the dragons aren't the enemy. The Vikings and the dragons learn to live in peace, creating a new way of life on Berk. The movie ends with Hiccup riding Toothless through the skies, now a hero and a leader, having found his place in a world that no longer fears dragons. In the rugged Viking village of Berk, dragons are a constant, terrifying menace. The villagers are hardened warriors who have been fighting these fiery pests for generations. The chief's son, Hiccup, is a scrawny and clumsy teenager who doesn't fit in with his strong, brawny peers. He is a source of constant frustration for his father, Stoic the Vast, who wants Hiccup to be a great warrior like him. During a dragon raid, Hiccup uses a cannon he invented to shoot down a Night Fury, the most dangerous and mythical of all dragons. He finds the dragon in the forest, but instead of killing it to prove his worth, he frees it. The Night Fury, which Hiccup later names Toothless, is unable to fly because a part of its tail fin was damaged in the crash. Hiccup feels guilty for what he has done and decides to help the dragon. He builds a prosthetic tail fin and attaches it to Toothless' tail. As he works on the prosthetic, he and Toothless form an unlikely bond. Through his time with Toothless, Hiccup discovers that everything the Vikings believe about dragons is wrong. He learns that dragons are not just mindless beasts, but intelligent and curious creatures with unique personalities. He uses his new knowledge of dragons to his advantage during dragon training, impressing his peers and his father. He easily tames the dragons in the arena by understanding their behavior, such as a natter's blind spot or a gronkle's shot limit. Hiccup's success makes him a hero in the village, but it also makes his friend Astrid suspicious. She follows him into the woods and discovers his secret. She is initially terrified and angry, but Hiccup takes her on a flight on Toothless, an experience that changes her perspective on dragons forever. They discover that the dragons are being forced to raid the village by a massive terrifying queen dragon called the Red Death. The dragons are simply trying to feed the queen to avoid being eaten themselves. Hiccup returns to the village determined to tell his father the truth about the dragons, but Stoic is too proud of him. Hiccup has won the dragon training competition and is set to kill a dragon in front of the entire village. During the ceremony, Hiccup tries to show everyone that dragons are not evil, but the dragon in the arena becomes agitated and the crowd panics. Toothless, hearing Hiccup's cries, bursts into the arena to protect him, revealing his existence to the entire village. Stoic, horrified, orders his men to capture Toothless. In his anger, he tells Hiccup that he is no longer his son. He decides to use Toothless to find the dragon's nest and end the war once and for all. Hiccup, heartbroken and determined to save his friends and the dragons, rallies his peers to help him. They all take their training dragons and fly to the dragon's nest to stop the Vikings. They arrive just as the Red Death emerges, incinerating the Viking fleet. Hiccup and the other teens use their knowledge of dragons to fight the Red Death. They lure the massive dragon into the air where it is unable to use its full strength. Hiccup and Toothless engage the queen in an aerial battle, and Hiccup uses his prosthetic to navigate and outmaneuver the larger dragon. In a final act of bravery, Hiccup and Toothless trick the Red Death into opening its mouth, and Toothless blasts a fiery shot into it, killing the queen and saving the Vikings. During the battle, Hiccup's prosthetic tail fin is destroyed and he and Toothless fall to the ground. Hiccup is saved from the flames by his father, who has finally come to terms with his son. Hiccup wakes up in his bed and discovers that he lost his leg in the battle. His father and Toothless are there with him, and Stoic expresses his pride in his son. The village, now free from the threat of the Red Death, has embraced the dragons and lives in peace with them. Hiccup, now a hero and a respected member of the village, is finally accepted for who he is, and he and Toothless fly together over their new home. The Viking village of Berk, a place constantly plagued by dragon raids. Unlike the other strong, brawny Vikings, the chief's son Hiccup is a scrawny and awkward teenager who doesn't fit in. His father, Stoic the Vast, wants him to be a great dragon warrior and is constantly disappointed by his son's clumsiness. While Stoic and the other Vikings set off on a dangerous quest to find the dragon's nest, Hiccup is left behind to start dragon training with his peers. During a raid, Hiccup uses a cannon he invented to shoot down a Night Fury, the most mythical and dangerous of all dragons. He finds the injured dragon in the woods but can't bring himself to kill it. Instead, he frees the dragon, which he names Toothless. Hiccup, feeling guilty, continues to visit Toothless. He builds a prosthetic tail fin for the dragon as its own was damaged in the crash. As he works on the prosthetic, the two form an unlikely bond, and Hiccup learns that everything the Vikings believe about dragons is wrong. He discovers that they are intelligent, curious, and even playful creatures. He uses this knowledge to excel in dragon training, much to the surprise of his peers. His success makes Astrid, a strong and confident Viking girl, suspicious. She follows Hiccup and discovers his secret. At first she's horrified, but Hiccup takes her on a breathtaking flight on Toothless' back and she sees the truth for herself. During their flight, they discover that the dragons are being controlled by a massive queen dragon, the Red Death, and are forced to raid the village to feed her. When Hiccup returns home, he finds his father, who is proud of him for winning the dragon training competition. Hiccup is set to kill a dragon in a public ceremony, but he tries to show the village that they don't have to kill dragons. His plan goes wrong, and Toothless, hearing Hiccup's cries, bursts into the arena to save him. The villagers are terrified, and Stoic, furious with Hiccup's betrayal, captures Toothless and uses him to find the dragon's nest. Heartbroken, Hiccup and his friends take their training dragons and fly to the nest to save their fathers. They arrive just as the Red Death emerges, destroying the Viking ships. Using their knowledge of dragons, they fight the Red Death and save the Vikings. Hiccup and Toothless defeat the queen, and in the process Hiccup loses his leg, a sacrifice that proves his courage and loyalty. When he wakes up, he finds himself a hero, and the Vikings and dragons have made peace. The story ends with Hiccup, now a respected leader, flying with Toothless over Berk, a village that has finally found peace. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.